The city of Portland, famous as the port on the Willamette River, Portland's true fame comes from the most beautiful of flowers, northwest. The towering snow-capped peak of Oregon's Mount Hood is one of many beautiful vistas in this great timberland. Not too far away, the city of Portland, famous as the port on the Willamette River, Portland's true fame comes from the most beautiful of flowers, the rose. The International Rose Garden, with thousands of blossoms, is the most spectacular symbol of this city of roses. And it is here today that 5 top bowlers will compete. In match 1, he has already won 3 titles this year, a top contender for Player of the Year, Art Trask. His opponent is one of the most consistent bowlers on the tour. He ranks 5th in earnings this year, Ted Hannas. Today's 3rd place qualifier is one of the all-time greats, a title winner, 16 times Hall of Famer Dave Soutar. In 2nd place, the top young pro on the tour today, making his 7th championship round appearance of 1982, Pete Weber. And our leader for the 2nd week in a row, looking for his 2nd victory in a row, 10-time champion Tommy Hudson. These top bowlers compete today in the City of Roses Open. ABC Sports presents live from Portland, Oregon, the Professional Bowlers Spring Tour. This ABC Sports exclusive is being brought to you by light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less. And by Skin Bracer Aftershave. Takes care of men who take care of their skin. Skin Bracer by Menon. And yes, it is always a pleasure to return to Portland, Oregon. I'm Chris Schenkel, along with Nelson Burton Jr., ready for our first match in the finals of the City of Roses PBA Open. We're at Timber Lanes. 5th time that the best in the world have come here to compete. And here's one of the best, especially in 1982, Bo, Art Trask, finishing 5th, first match.
Chris, 8-0 for the year. He's tied with Anthony for the all-time record of most consecutive victories on ABC championship rounds.
Didn't get the break he wanted, leaving the 10-pin on the left lane of this championship pair. The pair, a composite average of 230.6.
Earl Anthony put that 8-0 streak together last year in 1981, where he won at the Rolaids and up in Peoria, and he won his first match at the Cleveland Open before losing. So Trask with a victory would make it 9-0 for the year, a new record.
All right, and today, Art Trask, 33-year-old Art from Fresno, California, is bowling a 25-year-old pro from Zanesville, Ohio, Ted Hanna. 5th in money earned this year, $60,600. And it's a 10-pin on the right lane for Hanna's.
Ted, identical shot that Art Trask left in the first frame. We don't call that the solid 10 when you see the 6-pin lay down the channel, but just a little softer speed, a little more lift, and he'll have it up solid in the pocket.
3rd at the Alameda Open and the Firestone Tournament of Champions. Winner today will get $12,000. And the right heel kicking the ball return and covering the 10-pin cross lane on the right lane as we replay the shot.
Just barely getting the 10-pin, and he was somewhat affected by the extended ball return here at Timber Lanes, and that's one of a number of factors today, Chris. The biggest factor probably all week long was the very slick approaches that the players had to contend with. We'll embellish that a little more after this next shot.
And the 6'2", 185-pound bowler, Ted Hannas, gets the first strike of this first match.
Powerful Ted Hannas 5-step delivery with just a little shuffle. It's almost a 4. Now as his 2nd step, he pushes the ball away, drops the shoulder. Watch how he comes straight through with his arm right to the target. Good, solid, strong upper body helps him get through the shot.
So answering back is Art Trask, who once this year in his 3 victories started in the number 5 spot, where he's starting today in our live coverage, went on to win.
Chris, the slippery approaches are caused by an additive put in the approach finish by the manufacturers to combat sticky approaches, and apparently they had just a little too much in it. What the players have done to combat this slippery approach situation is rubber shoes or no sliding sole on the left foot.
Big double for Art Trask. So heavy humidity as it's raining outdoors here in Portland, Oregon, spoiling their Grand Floral Parade somewhat. Had nothing to do with it, huh?
Not really. There's a warp board from the approach, and the reason that got warped, the PBA lane maintenance crew, to help combat the slippery approaches, poured water on the approaches at night and then just dragged it off just before the play. That would slow the approaches down and keep the players from slipping. All
right, now to stay even, Ted Hannes needs to strike here in the 3rd frame. Disappointing 10-pin.
That's the solid 10 we're talking about, where the 6-pin goes flying right around the 10. Now watch the 2nd pin on the right-hand part of your screen. It'll never touch the gutter, the channel, or the side. Well, it hits the sideboard, did not come back in the 10. When it stays airborne like that, that's the solid 10.
We mentioned Ted finished 3rd in the Firestone. In that, he bowled past Earl Anthony, Dave Houston, and then was beaten by the eventual winner, our statistician today, Mike Durbin. 2 in a row on the right line, covering the 10-pin for this 25-year-old. Good size, big and strong. Averaged 209 on this championship pair.
Reaches back to get a little rosin, and a credit to Ted Hannes is the way he's making that 10-pin with that big hook he has. He actually kicks the ball return, but that's after he releases the ball. As long as it doesn't bother you psychologically, you can handle that tight ball return and still kick it and not have it affect the shot.
I hit lucky to leave only the 4-pin.
The championship pair, 33 and 34 here, is one of the best scoring pairs in the house as Ted Hannes goes high, breaks up the 4-7-10, just gets the 4-pin. Simply because I think that, Chris, it's near the control counter. It gets more play by the amateurs. There's a nice track or worn area between the 2nd and 3rd arrow that's very playable for the pros.
Hannes perfect, shooting the spares, a man that was the 2nd-round leader here in the City of Roses Open. We're in Portland. Our coverage is live. We're going to go away, but we'll be back.
You know, baseball's the same in Japan as it is in America. You play 9 innings, 3 strikes and you're out. And after the game, there's nothing like a beer. And when Numa's in town, I treat him to light beer from Miller because it tastes great. Yeah, I know it's less filling, but we drink it because it tastes great. Listen, Numa, it tastes great. All right, it's less filling.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer. And at Ford Motor Company, quality is job one.
Panels that were good last year, this year they wouldn't make the grade. You won. Quality is number 1 with us.
This dedication is already paying off. Overall, a 48% improvement in quality since 1980, as reported by new car owners.
Better and better, see what we've done. At Ford, quality is job 1.
This was my old routine. Bright sun, chlorine. Prevent algae, more chlorine. Pool party, lots of chlorine. Then I discovered long-lasting paste products with stabilized chlorine that takes care of that routine. By releasing chlorine only when it's needed, paste keeps my water sparkling clear through hot sun, algae, and heavy use. And I spend less time treating my pool and more time enjoying it.
Get long-lasting pace and save up to $8. Details at participating dealers.
Next, WBA World Light Heavyweight Champ Michael Spinks battles to keep his undefeated record. Plus, Howard Cosell talks with Holmes and Cooney about last night's fight on ABC's Wide World of Sports. Next.
Nelson Burton and I are live in Portland, and in Las Vegas, Howard Cosell will be live as he'll interview the 2 fighters. Jerry Cooney, gallant loser, and retaining his title, Larry Holmes. We're in our first match. Live coverage in Portland, Oregon. Art Trask, who has a double working, now shooting in the 4th frame. Sliding by, leaving the 1-2.
Almost had the washout, the 1-2-10. The 6-pin popped up out of the channel and knocked out the 10. Watch the good break that Art gets on this shot. There's the 6-pin in the channel, pops up, makes it a very easy spare instead of a difficult washout.
The 1-2. Down. Art Trask, 3 wins, a possibility of being Bowler of the Year, and we asked him what he has to do to gain that honor.
Well, I feel that to be considered for Bowler of the Year this year, what I have to do is win more titles than anyone else out here. Realistically speaking, I don't think I can catch Earl in the money winnings, so I'm looking to win number 4 today.
And if he keeps bowling like that, well, it's a good shot, starting from the number 5 position. Not unfamiliar to him to go on and win. So he's back in the striking ways. And let's see what Ted Hanna's now of Zanesville, Ohio. He's shooting in the 5th, spare working.
Been around the pocket. Been around the pocket, Chris. The first 4 frames, 10-pin strike, 10-pin 4-pin. Let's see if he can get it going and make this a close match.
Strong.
Good lesson to be learned from Ted Hanna's there. We talked about the weak 10 or the soft 10, what you have to do to knock it down. Ted Hanna's just put a little more lift on the ball, and it makes the ball drive those pins back into the 10-pin. And the beautiful trophy that the 1980 champion of the Rose City Open will take home. A rose embedded in a clear bowling ball.
Lovely, friendly people here in Portland, proud of their floral city. And, Bo, I think you look well with a yellow rose in your left lapel.
Well, thank you, Chris. People have been very nice.
I'm taking mine home with me.
Ted just taking his time. Apparently just didn't feel right. We saw him in the previous frame on the left-hand lane stop and get some rosin on his hand. Apparently just wasn't set, taking his time. Needs this shot to take the lead in the match if he strikes.
What a beautiful follow-through on that stroke. Put everything into it.
Just slams all 10 pins straight back. This is ideal shot. Solid in the pocket, no doubt. Art Trask, who is undefeated so far this year, is behind in this match through 5 frames. As a strike up, though, he can take the lead with a double on this shot.
Winner of this game will meet 16-time champion Dave Soutar, then Pete Weber. Another 10-pin on the right lane.
The championship pair, 33 and 34, is one of the best scoring pairs in the house. As we said, it's in front of the control counter. The right-handers can play in the track area, and the characteristic of the pair is very simple. The right-hand lane hooks about 2 boards more than the left-hand lane just because it's worn a little more, but that's easy for the pros to adjust to.
A very, very close first match. And there you get an idea, and you see that Hanna's, who's watching now, has that double working for him, but into the 7th frame now, it will be Art Trask, who moved from Miami to Fresno, Miami, Florida. Very businesslike on the approaches here at the Timber Lanes Art Trask. We'll be back with more of the Trask-Ted Hanna's match, but first, this message.
Like a lot of people, I'm taking better care of my body. Better care of my skin, too. With Skin Bracer Aftershave. Shaving is rough, so I use Skin Bracer. It cools and smooths skin. Tightens pores. That's the tingle. Smells great, too. But Skin Bracer's not cologne. It's skin care that feels good. That's why more men are saying, thanks. I needed that.
Skin Bracer, now in spice, too. Takes care of men who take care of their skin. Skin Bracer Aftershave.
By men. Great taste that only happens here. Velamint. Great taste that's always cool and clear.
Get a taste of our world. In Velament's World of Taste sweepstakes, you could win a trip for two to anywhere in the world. Anywhere. Just tell us where you want to go. Look for entry forms at participating stores and enter the Velament's World of Taste sweepstakes today.
Great taste that only happens here. Velamint.
2 weeks from today, the Professional Bowler Spring Tour concludes in Las Vegas, where Tom Baker and Joe Hutchinson defend their title in the only doubles championship of the year. See twice the excitement as teams of top bowlers compete in the $110,000 Showboat PBA Doubles Classic. That's 2 weeks from today on ABC.
Back in Portland and at Pebble Beach. Yes, the United States Open unfolding once again on that great golf course, and ABC Sports exclusive coverage of that prestigious event. And because of it, we will not have a Professional Bowler Spring Tour telecast, but we will 2 weeks from today.
And Chris, the pros in the interim will move to San Jose next week for the San Jose Open at Ted Hoffman's Bowling Center in Saratoga Lanes.
Oh, a three-bagger for Ted Hanna's. And the pro from Zanesville, Ohio, we asked him earlier how he developed his unconventional style. Here's what he said.
I developed my unconventional style by earlier in my bowling career. I used to take 5 steps from the back of the approach, and I had to figure out a way to slow down. So when I moved further up on the approach, that's when I incorporated my drift into my style.
And what he means is the old adage in bowling, you don't want to rush the foul line, and so Ted actually has that, what we could call it, a timing step or stutter step in his first step, but it has reduced the speed of his approach and the length, but caused that slight drift to the left. Watch him as he steps across on his second step.
All right, stringing them now. Really putting the pressure on Art Trask. Ted Hanna's, who was married 1 week after his third-place finish in the Firestone.
Hanna's with a great shot, just rips the 5 out, lets it do the damage over in the 4-7 area. Ideal strike for a powerful pro bowler. Keep the ball light, let those pins dance off the sideboard.
Trask has a strike up. Right now, he'll be shooting in the 8th frame of this first game. Doubling.
Boy, he's just bowling so well this year. 6th frame, he had a solid 10, he'd be leading in this match. The profile of Art Trask, just textbook style. Good push away, 5-step delivery. Watch how level the shoulders are, the head is, the good follow through, and watch how he holds it. He just leaves it there and holds it. That's tremendous to do that under pressure. Keeps you from pulling the shots. Right now, in order to keep his record clean at 8-0 and close the door, close the gap between Hanna's, he needs a strike. It'll be down to just 1 pin if he can strike in the 9th.
And this is only the first match in our live coverage. Jeff Bellinger of South Carolina, alternate 6th place, $3,550. Had a big last game to move from 10th to 6th.
Boomball Bellinger, they call him. He's a good guy.
Oh, how these pros accept pressure. Ball gets very heavy. And now, Hanna's is back up.
Trask really answered the challenge there after Hanna's has strung 4 in a row, 5th through the 8th. Has the pressure on Art Trask, but if he doesn't strike here and gets 9 spare, we'd have a tie match going into the 10th.
1 pin lead.
A new bowling ball, and sometimes he just doesn't get the right feel in the fingers. Takes his time.
Good action, 60 feet away. Ted Hanna's coming through with another strike.
Here's that drift of Ted Hanna. As you see, his left foot is almost on the center board, or 20th board, as we call it on the Pro Bowlers Tour. And then after his second step, he drifts about 10 to 15 boards to the left, and then continues to slide even farther left at the foul line. Strong upper body, though, keeps his ball in play as he gets it down close to his ankle as he comes through the shot. And for Ted Hanna's right now, if he can throw another strike here, he'll really have Art Trask on the ropes.
Last year here at Timberlanes in Portland, he finished 9th.
It's handy.
What a display of precision by both professional bowlers here in Oregon.
Ted Hanna's has really, really come to life in the last 3 or 4 months, Chris. He won at the Waukegan Open last year, which helped give him some confidence, but he has really improved his game in the last winter tour, especially in 1982. Right now, with another strike, he can deal Art Trask his first loss of the year.
Tie the game.
Ted started bowling at age 8.
Ten pin on the left lane.
It's not over. If he converts the 10, he'll have 248. If Art Trask, here's that solid 10 again, this would have been a shutout. He'd have been in the 250s, not to be the solid 10. Now with a conversion, Hanna's would have 248. The situation for Trask is very simple. He needs 3 strikes to tie and send it into overtime.
Okay, a big 248. Now, Trask.
3 strikes to tie and send it in overtime. If he does not strike on any one of the next 3 balls, that's the end of his perfect record for the 1982 season.
There's one. Don't forget, the winner meets Dave Soutar, then Pete Weber. Following the championship match, the man who goes all the way to that point will meet Tommy Hudson, the winner last week in Seattle.
Disturbance in his 3rd step. What concentration he must have, Chris, to stop at that point. It's very difficult to stop him if you know somebody's going to bother you. But he had a little click that bothered us, took his concentration off. Wise move for Art Trask to put that bowling ball down and start completely over. Still needs 2 strikes to tie.
Time to take a few deep breaths. Not to be. 4 pin. Tough break. So that means that coming up next, Ted Hanna's, not Art Trask, will go against Dave Soutar. Professional Bowler Spring Tour will continue after this message from one of our sponsors and station identification.
It'll never work.
We're testing whether Tegrin can keep Lisa's dandruff under control for 3 days. Okay, Lisa, give it the Tegrin shake.
Looks terrific. But it's only 1 day.
Tegrin shake, day 2, Lisa.
Wow, Tegrin's on the job. But there's tomorrow.
Day 3. Let's see that Tegrin shake.
Hey, I'm really impressed. Tegrin, I'm sorry I doubted you.
Try Tegrin. It works.
Really works.
Between shampoos.
Oh. Oh. Oh.
There's a product that no medicine cabinet should be without.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh.
Alka-Seltzer. Alka-Seltzer. For upset stomach and headache, nothing works better. Nothing is more soothing. Alka-Seltzer, America's home remedy.
Red Sox Yankees or Mets Pirates this week on ABC's Monday Night Baseball.
Springtime in Kansas City always means a chance for thunderstorms.
I'm Dave Dusick. We in the Weather Center warn you if severe weather threatens. When you see this emblem on your TV screen, that means we are in a thunderstorm watch and conditions are favorable for severe weather. But when you see this emblem, it means we are in a warning, and you should take cover if you are in the warning area. With the help of the Civil Air Patrol, the Weather Center is here to alert you to life-threatening conditions, so stay tuned to Channel 9.
Richard Harris is an Englishman captured by the Indians and turned into a pet.
I've had enough! I'm not a horse! I'm not an animal! I am a man!
And he becomes one of them.
5 years you've lived here and you've learned nothing about these people. You are part of me.
Richard Harris in A Man Called Horse at 10:30 Saturday on Channel 9.
Meet Gilda Radner on Monday's PM Magazine. We hope you enjoyed the exciting first match from Portland, Oregon in the City of Roses Open. Ted Hanna's defeating Art Trask 248 to 237. Each bowler with 7 strikes. Now, a 16-time winner, Hall of Famer Dave Soutar steps into our picture. He's going against Hanna. And get this, Soutar on this championship pair averaged 263.
263, that's about as good as you can possibly do. Soutar in the match play had a 279 followed by a 247. Let's see what he does against Hanna's. Hanna's had a 248 the first game. A good scoring pair this week.
Pro bowler for 3 years. Hanna's of Zanesville, Ohio. Tough today, good concentration. And now a look at the 6'3", 195-pound, 42-year-old Dave Soutar. Talk about concentration and being a competitor. You're looking at him. Leaving a 2-pin.
Dave Soutar is my old doubles partner, and Chris, Dave and I bowled our very first tournament together in Redondo Beach, California in 1961. So he was my first roommate. And look at this style that's lasted 20-some years, is one of the greatest there is in the game. Can't do it much better than that.
And Dave and Nelson won the ABC doubles title. Notes a spare. Oh, the father of 4.
Chris, as you said, Dave is a great match play player. He's learned to play match game in his early years in Detroit, and he was always one of the most feared players out here. And I'll tell you one thing, he's just so cold out there. He doesn't give you the impression he's ever going to falter, and he's great in the clutch. He always keeps the pressure on the opponent. If you get Soutar close to you, look out.
There were some tough competitors from Detroit. And this time, 7-pin on the left lane.
This is a shot we saw Hanna's get by with in the first match, where he just rips the 5 over in the 4-7 area. Unfortunately for Soupy, the head pin went to the sideboard and obstructed the 5 into going the 4-7.
Back-to-back spares for Dave Soutar. Ted Hanna's opened the match in our live coverage with a strike. Now shooting in second. Meanwhile, Pete Weber is warming up off to the right because he will meet the winner. 5th on the PBA money list.
Ted Hanna's today is using a polyester constructed bowling ball. Dave Soutar, a polyurethane bowling ball. Just a little bit different, but both plastic or polymer bases, they call them.
Big double to get his second game underway. If you just joined us, he won the first over Art Trask, 248 to 237.
You can hardly miss that blue color. Here's the replay. Hanna's loose, getting the power going, almost solid in the pocket, but with his power, drives the 6 into the 10. The ball, bingo. That's power that keeps that 6-pin up in play. If you don't have the power, it lays down in the moat and dies. Leaves the weak 10.
You hear pins falling. Pete Weber practicing, and right from the start, tournament leader Tommy Hudson has been practicing too.
Help!
Three-bagger.
Chris, people wonder why you have to throw a hook. There was just 2 shots that epitomized it. Watch the 6-pin just be driven right into the 10. Without hook, power, and lift, you will never get pin action like that. Ideally done by Ted Hannes. He's got a turkey.
3rd frame for Dave Soutar. Expressionless.
He knows the importance of this shot. He's going against a very hot player in Ted Hannes. He doesn't want to let him get too far ahead. Soutar could cut that lead from 21 that Hannes has down to 11 with a strike here in the 4th.
1970, Dave won 4 tournaments. And a man that won the 1961 National Championship in Cleveland before Pete Weber was born. Weber will meet the winner of this match. We'll be back.
I'm Johnny Bench. This is Krylon Spray Paint, the other leading national brand. And here comes my fast pitch, so watch close. Krylon Special Formula goes on smooth, just like a professional finish. And just 12 minutes later, it's dry to the touch. No runs, no drips, no errors. The other brand's still tacky after 1 hour. Let's see it again. Krylon dry after 12 minutes, other brand still tacky after 1 hour. Did you catch that? Krylon, for a smooth, fast professional finish.
I tell you, with girls, I never had any luck, you know. Well, I used to call information just to get a woman to talk to me. You live around here? Then I found light beer for Miller. The light's less filling and it really tastes great. Now, I'll tell you, since I discovered light beer, women are always talking to me, you know. Hi. You come here often?
Get lost.
See what I mean?
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
I tell you, she's crazy about me.
ABC Sports presents another sensational Sunday. First, on your mark for the NCAA Outdoor Track and Field Championships. Then the critically acclaimed ABC Sports Beat with Howard Cosell. On The American Sportsman, will the bluefin tuna survive? Plus, parachutist leap off El Capitan. Finally, on ABC's Wide World of Sports, see Americans coming on strong in the U.S. Grand Prix Motocross Motorcycle Championship. Plus, U.S. Olympic hopefuls show brute weightlifting strength. Another sensational Sunday tomorrow on ABC.
A 5th frame strike for Ted Hannes. He is perfect thus far in his 2nd match today. While we're away, a strike in the 4th, and you saw the final result of his shot on the left lane in the 5th frame. 5 in a row. Now with a double up, Dave Soutar. For Dave Soutar, the 42-year-old pro, whom earlier we asked why the veterans are doing so well on the 1980 tour.
The veterans are doing better on the 1982 tour because the PBA lane maintenance staff has made the lanes a lot tougher, and this
82.
creates more of an accurate shot, and the veterans have learned in years ago, they learned to be more accurate, so consequently they're bowling a little better.
And 1982 has been a great year as we're in the spring tour now, and for Dave, he didn't like that shot leaving the 10-pin.
The solid 10, he would have brought himself within 11 pins of Hannes. The 10-pin has stopped him. With a conversion here, he'll be trailing by 22 pins. Soupy, a good match play player, though. Keeps the ball in pocket, keeps the pressure on the opponent.
Well, bowler in the beautiful home state, Oregon, of Marshall Holman.
Yeah, Marshall Holman, for the people that are Holman's fans, is not eligible to play on the spring tour because he did not attend the mandatory PBA schools. But we have late word that he has signed up for the St. Louis school, which will be run during the final telecast by ABC, the doubles tournament. So you'll have to wait to see Marshall until next year.
And we miss him. Concentration again broken.
A little bit has to do with the approaches, Chris. They're slippery there, and some of those boards that we saw earlier in the telecast have popped up, and sometimes your ankle will catch on that, or your heel will catch on just as you're starting. It throws off your timing.
who are rooting for this 25-year-old Ohioan. Disappointed that the 10-pin didn't go.
There it is. He's carried that hit 3 times in this run of 5 strikes to start the match, but not to be on that shot. Little slip on the approach as he released the ball, cost just a little loss in power. Watch him kick this ball return now.
Opening with 5 in a row, now marking with a spare in the 6th, Ted Hannes, and maintaining a 21-pin lead. Won the first game 248 to 237 with 7 strikes over Art Trask.
Hannes cannot have a let-up there in the last 4 frames. He's bowling against one of the great match play players just lurking back there in the ball return area. Give Soutar an opening, he'll jump right in.
Ten-pin on the left lane.
Not bad. We saw Soutar shoot this shot in the 6th frame on a solid 10, and he slipped quite a bit on the approach. Let's see what Hannes does as he goes cross lane, see if he slips on the approach right at the foul line.
Pressure mounting, perspiration on the forehead of this pro bowler. Cross lane for the 10. So we're just beyond the halfway point of our second match here on the Professional Bowlers Spring Tour. It's time for a break, but we'll be back.
You men, there's only one reason you wear cologne. Only one reason. Women. Hey, that's okay. Why do you think we use perfume? But as long as you're going to do it, you might as well do it right. Use this cologne, English leather, because English leather drives women crazy. Now, can you think of a better reason to wear a cologne? English leather drives women.
World light heavyweight champ Michael Spinks battles to keep his undefeated record. Plus, Howard Cosell talks with Holmes and Cooney about last night's fight on ABC's Wide World of Sports next.
Looking at Dave Soutar, and since we're running behind in our regular time slot, we bowled through, and in the 7th frame, it was a big strike, much needed for the veteran, and he'll be shooting now in the 8th, hoping double to cut that lead that Hannah holds to only 10. Coming through the match play, King. Well, today we're going to have the Rolaids tip of the week, and Nelson Burton Jr. is going to give all you lefties tips.
Yeah, I get a little help from Johnny Petraglia since my left-handed game, Chris, is not too good. Hannah spare working in the 7th. Leads by 10, 8th frame.
With a spare up, Ted Hannes strikes in the 8th frame.
What a great match so far. Hannah's open with 5 in a row, 10 pin in the 6th, 10 in the 7th, strike in the 8th. Soutar in the pocket the first 2 frames, strung together a turkey. Solid 10 in the 6th, which is so far the difference in the match, has a double working in the 7th and 8th. Hannah's going at a 2:38 pace, Soutar at a 2:28 pace, just 2 frames left.
Now Harry Golden, the 21-year veteran managing this Professional Bowlers Tour. Hannes thinks he deserves a re-rack.
Each player gets 1 re-rack each game on National Championship round, but Harry has denied the 2nd to Ted Hannes. Ted kind of gives him a look, hey, Pards, it's me throwing the ball here. He has to just take his time and settle down, shoot the rack. Make the best shot you can. This is a very important time for keeping your eyes on the spot. See Ted Hannes looking down his spot just to pass the foul line at the arrows. Keep his head down. Forget about the pin placement.
And a high hit. Marginal thoughts can play havoc with your game.
You're so correct, Chris, and you have to have a positive attitude. Hannah's trying to help the ball up. Maybe he felt the pocket was tight where he had to get the ball up high to carry. Went high, left the 3-6-10. Cross lane, difficult spare, especially with the slippery approach. Soutar with a strike here in the ninth would even the match. Hanna's going at a 2:38 pace. One more strike would bring Soutar, Dave Soutar, down to a 2:38 pace.
Dave Soutar, Leawood, Kansas.
Scoreboard tells the story. It's all even going in the 10th frame, very similar to the first match where we had Trask and Hanna's go right to the 10th frame before Ted Hanna's won the match 2:48 to 2:37. Right now, Soutar going at a 2:38 pace. Hanna's a 2:38 pace. Soupy can take the lead for the first time with a strike right here.
Professional.
Chris, I can't think of anybody I've known in the 21 years I've been out there who I'd want standing on the approach to throw one strike for me to put the pressure on another player. Dave Soutar, look at this ball, and when you see the 10 pin fall into the center of the lane like that one did, you know it was executed absolutely perfect. Right now, he can shut out Ted Hanna's with this strike.
Oh, that's a high compliment, and he deserves it. On that left lane.
He leaves an opening for Hanna's. Soupy with a spare will have 247. Hanna still has a possible 248. Dave, a little extra power on the ball. 2-pin goes to sideboard, takes out the 7, fails to get the 4. That would have shut out Hanna's. The match is still wide open. Hanna's must double.
Totally lost that one. Dave Soutar, disbelief.
It doesn't affect the amount of strikes that Hanna's has to get as Soutar slides by the 4-pin on the left. Hanna's must get a double and 9 to win the match. A double and 8 would be a tie. A double and 7 would be a loss. But he needs this first strike.
In the last match, Trask needed 3 at the end. Didn't get them. Now Hanna's. 10 pin on the right lane, Bo.
That's
those
Chris.
single pins. Hanna's won the first, 248 to 237 over Trask, and now 42-year-old Dave Soutar will go against 19-year-old Pete Weber. What a match that will be. Don't miss it.
The impossible is now possible. You can get a durable turtle wax finish in less than 15 minutes with new Minute Wax silicone car wax. Impossible? Well, we're here asking people like you to prove it.
You do like that, and you wipe it off. You can do the whole thing in a few minutes.
I love it. I mean, it's just, I've never seen anything so simple.
It leaves a hard protective coating, just like a turtle shell.
New Minute Wax car wax. Real turtle wax protection.
From Turtle Wax. You can't polish a car in 15 minutes with anything else.
America, let's turn it to gold. Let's turn it to gold.
Recycling can turn aluminum into gold because you get cash. And during June, Alcoa will give a penny a pound to the 1984 U.S. Olympic team. So pick up your favorite beverages in aluminum cans and turn them into gold. Just call for the recycling center nearest you.
America, let's turn it to gold. Let's turn it to gold.
When Sears puts a muzzler on your car, we'll stand behind it, no matter what. Year after year, mile after mile, if it fails, we'll replace it free. Yet the muzzler muffler's only $24.99 installed in only an hour after you're okay or the labor's free.
And if you need your brakes fixed, have confidence. Sears can fix them the day you come in or the next working day. At Sears Tire and Auto Centers, we install confidence. You can count on Sears.
Yes, it was Dave Soutar who could smell the roses in that second game, defeating Ted Hanna's, who had won the first. Soutar's 246, Hanna's with 237.
Right-handers bowling here today. There are a lot of left-handers, including many friends of mine, that enjoy the game of bowling. Johnny Petraglia joins Nelson Burton Jr. in giving you tips for the lefties. Here it is.
The Professional Bowling Tip of the Week is brought to you by Rolaids.
Today we have a special tip designed for you left-handed players. And with me is PBA Tour veteran Johnny Petraglia. Johnny, what are you going to show the lefties today that can improve their game?
Well, Bo, today we're going to study the aspect of the game that involves the different lines that the right-handers and the left-handers have to take to the pocket. Why don't you give us a demonstration of how the right-handers do it?
All right.
Because the majority of bowlers are right-handers creating a high friction surface, righties normally play the second arrow, which is a line closer to the center of the lane. Due to less play on the left side, there is a smoother surface. Because of this, left-handers can normally play closer to the first arrow.
Super tip, John. Can you sum it all up for us?
Sure, Bo. All the lefties have to remember is to roll their ball from the outside line.
Super. Thank you, Johnny.
I'm Dana Hilger.
And I'm Michael Kalman. Lots of things coming up next week on PM Magazine. For instance, we'll meet Gilda Radner and find out about her brand new movie called Hanky Panky.
We'll also follow along with General Hospital's Luke Spencer and Scotty Baldwin as they visit Kansas City.
We'll also meet a little kid who has a chimp for a brother.
So join us all next week on PM Magazine at 6:30 here on Channel 9.
Here at Timber Lanes, a tremendously high-scoring championship pair. We've had 2 matches, and now on the left, only 19, Pete Weber, and on the right, Dave Soutar, who is 42 and won the last match over Ted Hanna's 246 to 237. In the first match, Hanna's defeated Art Trask 248 to 237. The 4 bowlers averaged 242 up to this point. Third game, semifinal.
Soupy, a good break. Tips the 4-7 off the sideboard with the 2-pin. Watch the 2-pin, the 3rd pin on the left-hand part of your screen. Go to the sideboard and slide between the 4-7. Knock them both out. Great start for Soutar.
Right in the burgundy shirt. They're all of 5'7" and 135 pounds. Dick Weber's son. Juanita's also. Pete Weber. You see that line, Nelson Burton Jr.
Well, that's a contemporary style we talk about. He sent it out wide. Look at this powerful backswing and a tremendous turn. I think there's only 2 players on the tour that really get this much power. Bob Hanley, who we saw last week, and Pete Weber, just tremendous wrist action. Look at where that ball is. 12 feet from the pocket. It has to cover 18 boards or 1.5 feet towards the pocket. Almost gets there.
And the speed to spare. Pete Weber covers to the 10-pin. Oh, this is exciting. Can you imagine what his dad back in Florissant is saying, and his ailing grandfather who's on the mend?
Well, I know his dad would like to just borrow a little bit of that hook power. Wife Dee Dee looks on.
Now on the left lane.
And there's daughter Nicole, who has some ideas about bowling herself. 2 hands, just like Pete started at the age of 2.
A little timid on that one. All right.
Well, Soutar has been around for a while. As you see, 21 years he's been on the tour, 42 years old, 16 titles. Pete Weber, 19, 3 years on the tour, 1 title. And the only discrepancy or difference, big difference in favor of Pete Weber is this year's money winnings. He's at $40,000 ahead of Dave Soutar.
Well, didn't get them all.
Same type of hit as Pete Weber had in the first frame, but he just got it from a little different angle. You saw Soutar's ball on about the 10th board at the 48 feet mark down the lane. Young Pete Weber, he was on the first border right along the edge of the moat.
Hall of Fame inductee in 1979, PBA. And he's done it again.
The approach has got him, Chris. He just slid in. He tried to dodge that ball return rack. Slides right by. Didn't keep the speed up. The ball takes a break the last 4 feet. Slides right by the 10 pin.
Little snake bit, because I went down to introduce your tip of the week. He said to me, Chris, I think I better learn to shoot spares. Oh, that has to be humiliating.
Well, every once in a while there's a mental lap or something that bothers or affects your timing. Soutar will snap right back. He's a champion. Chris, I'll bet you he hits this one. There will be no doubt on this single pin. Going through Soutar's mind, I just missed 2 single pins as he leaves the half 10, weak 10. 6 pin lays right in the channel, doesn't knock it out. Let's see how he attacks this. A little more speed. You watch this and cross lane. Will be no doubt on this shot.
Dave's wife, Judy, back in Leewood, 2-time Woman Bowler of the Year. Not a bad pair of credentials.
No, probably the greatest bowling couple that the PBA Tour has, along with Jay and Cheryl Robinson. Of course, who can ever forget Don Carter and family. Pete Weber, father-son combination. It's a family sport.
Tremendously high hit, but gets them all.
Watch young Pete Weber's release as the ball comes right by his left leg, and watch the wrist action. Now see that wrist roll underneath it. Now watch it lift straight up through the ball. There you go. Not over the top of the ball. You get the power as shown by this shot by lifting through the ball, not spinning it and going around the ball. Nice shot.
Won the Greater Hartford Open, 2nd at the Showboat Invitational, 3rd at the True Value Open in Peoria, 4th in both the Long Island and Greater Miami. 3 in a row. Pete Weber exciting the fans here, and we hope and feel that he's exciting you wherever you are, too. You'll see more of him and Dave Soutar after this.
Once you put motor on a can, you can't see it, you can't feel it, you can't watch it work. So how do you know how good it is?
At Quaker State, we put it in writing. We back up our quality with a lifetime guarantee.
How do you know how good Quaker State is?
We guarantee every new car engine against oil-related failure for as long as you own your car. We put it in writing.
We're working to keep your car staying on the road.
How do you know how good Quaker State is? We put it in writing. No one else does.
With a tree, you plant a little of yourself. Each ring is one more chapter in your life. As it marks each year that comes and goes, that tree will grow stronger if you trust its life to Job's.
Job's Tree and Shrub, Fruit Tree, and Evergreen Spikes. The fertilizers you just pound in.
You can trust its life to Job's.
And indoors, Job's houseplant spikes, too. Job's, the easiest way to grow on Earth.
The U.S. Open title, the dream of many, the reality of few. And yet, incredibly, one man has a chance for 5. Jack Nicklaus. Watch him in the U.S. Open beginning Thursday night on ABC Sports, an American tradition.
Ah, yes, give her a bouquet of yellow roses. Things aren't coming up roses for Dave Soutar here in Portland. That time, yes. He's missed 2 spares thus far in 2 matches, but while we were away in the 4th frame, he left to 2 and covered it and came right back, though, with a strike. But now, Mr. Excitement, 19-year-old Pete Weber.
He throws a powerful ball, Pete Weber does, as he just ripped the rack open in the 4th frame. He has a turkey up. He leads Soutar by 33.
Crossing over. 3-6 remains standing on the right lane.
Pete has to overcome the subconscious fear of sending the ball out and dropping it off in the channel there. When you're sending it that wide, he has to keep it that wide to keep out of the nose, as that shot hit high, as we saw in the 1st frame where he left the 10 pin. He almost went in the channel. Has steady nerves to play that shot.
Okay, came back up, knocked down to 3-6. We had a chance to get an answer to this question from Pete earlier, why he's so improved in the last 2 years. Here's what he said.
The reason I've improved so much in the last 2 years is because, number one, I'm making key shots when I need them. I'm concentrating a little bit more on the approach, and 7 TV finals this year hasn't hurt my confidence any.
All of 19.
7 championship rounds, Chris, would hurt nobody's confidence. He's bowling great.
Well, he didn't rush that one. Oh, he laid that right in there.
If Pete can keep the ball in the pocket, it's almost impossible to have the pins stay up. And almost everything's a tap for him when you have that much power and that much angle going towards the 1-3. Now, Wiley Soutar is up there figuring out how to hit this pair, how to keep the ball in the pocket, and put some pressure on Pete Weber.
Strike working. Double. Comes the veteran.
4-step delivery. Soutar pushes the ball away and his right foot at the same time, just like the textbook. And watch him hit the foul line. Watch his knee bend and extension through the shot. Look at that body and arm reach through the shot. Beautiful camera work, beautiful position for Soutar. Built a solid game. It's like a house. You build it with a good foundation. It'll last a lifetime.
All but the 7 on the left lane. This is the 3rd match. The winner of this game goes against the tournament leader, Tommy Hudson.
Breaks up the big 4. He had the 4, 6, 7, 10 sitting up. Bingo. Got a break. Easy spare the 7-pin, but he has to keep his speed up. Remember, he's had a little trouble with the single-pin spares. He missed the 4-pin in the first game. He missed the 10-pin in the second frame of this match.
Okay. All this action, live coverage, is coming to you from the Timber Lanes in Portland, Oregon. Soutar trailing by 22. We'll be back.
Everywhere you look these days, you'll see America firming up. Millions are discovering just how good fitness feels. I'm Susan Anton. Fitness that feels good by day needs firmness that feels good by night. Top comfort, deep support. You get both in every Serta Perfect Sleeper. Be a perfect sleeper. Buy a perfect sleeper, perfect sleeper. Buy Serta. It's a healthy investment in yourself.
Hawk, free-spirited, riding on the wind. Hawk, soaring to heights no other can reach. Now, for the man who reaches higher, we've captured that high-flying feeling in a new man's fragrance. Hawk, challenging, exhilarating. Now for the man who reaches higher. Hawk.
By Menon. 8th frame shot, Pete Weber. High hit, a terrible result. But while we were away, because we were running late behind our schedule, it was a strike for Pete in the 7th.
Pete cuts through and leaves the big 5. It's just changed the whole match around with a strike there in 8th frame. He could just about put Soutar away. He's opened the door.
.161, or make it 179 through the 8th.
Soutar right now is trailing by 13 pins. He's working at a 196 pace. Pete Weber at a 209 pace.
Soutar on the right lane. Ten-pin. He wanted that one.
Yes, he did. Boy, that was a big shot. He could have really put the squeezes on Pete Weber. Soutar with a spare will trail by 14. There'll still be 2 frames left. The solid 10. Bang. The 6 went flying around the 10. 3-pound, 4-ounce pins that the pros are using this week. Not very heavy, not much resistance for a 16-pound pro ball.
3rd pressure-packed match in our live telecast. He worried about getting the 10. If you just joined us, in the first match, Ted Hannes defeated Art Trask 248 to 237. Then it was Dave Soutar who came back to beat Hannes 246 to 237.
9th frame. like to have a strike here to set it up for the 10th.
And he's done just that.
Dave Soutar, you can say it over and over again, but it'll never change. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. Soutar closing the door on Pete Weber. Trails by 14, but he's got a strike up in the 9th.
And if Bo and I have a smile on our voice when this young man bowls, it's because we've known him since birth, and we keep watching him grow, and it's fun.
Great young player with a tremendous future in bowling.
Leaving the 2-4.
Really a nice shot. He trusted it, he kept the speed up, and it just did not come back enough. Now watch his style with the high backswing, but watch how he gets that arm down underneath that left leg right at the foul line now as he comes through. Now watch the trajectory of the ball. See, he's playing the second arrow in the channel at the same time. It takes 2 players with normal style to do that. He's doing it with 1.
He is not timid when he shoots spares.
For Pete, the situation is this. If he strikes in the 10th and 11th and gets a 7-pin count, he will shut out Dave Soutar. If he does not get the double, Soutar can still win the match in the 10th frame.
Carefully drying that bowling hand.
Mr. Concentration. He knows he can throw the double if Pete gives him a chance.
Three, 6.
Trust is a must, or your game is a bust. Pete sent it real wide. 3-6 spare. Got a break. Could have had a 3-10 split. 9-pin took out the 10. Still has a tough spare. Got to watch the chop.
Just did it.
That young man has to have nerves to steal. That ball was so close to going in the channel. He still made the spare. Pin count is very... Look at this shot. Half the ball in the channel. Converts the 3-6.
What's this?
Please don't go in.
Developing like an Arnold Palmer of golf. Never a dull moment. All right. So for 19-year-old Pete Weber, it's a 207.
Dave Soutar needs 2 strikes. He's got a strike up in the 9th. He needs the first one in the 10th and the second one in the 10th or the 11th frame to win the match.
That 10-pin once more here in Portland, Oregon, and the City of Roses Open. So coming up next, it'll be Pete Weber going against the tournament leader, Tommy Hudson. The Professional Bowler Spring Tour will continue after this message from one of our sponsors and station identification.
An old car is like an old dog. You got to give it special treatment. If it smokes a little when it starts up, try this, the Autolite Spark Plug with the power tip. You see how much longer the tip is compared to ordinary plugs? That makes Autolites hot at low speeds, which helps burn off oily deposits. And you can get power tips for most cars. If your old car has been faithful to you, it deserves a little reward. Here, boy.
This is a muscle tension headache about to happen. Muscles tense. Press on nerves until muscle tension headache.
Got any Anacin?
Take Anacin for muscle tension headache pain. Compared with regular headache tablets, Anacin has 23% more pain reliever, plus an extra ingredient. Anacin gives fast relief of muscle tension headache pain, so you can feel yourself again. Anacin relieves muscle tension headache pain fast.
Will the Mideast ceasefire hold? Monday, watch ABC's World News Tonight.
We're gonna crash out of here.
Gene Hackman.
This is not a riot. The It's an orderly demonstration.
Jim Brown.
Never put a knife on a person.
An attempted prison break.
Because we're going to give him such a snow job and use him as a go-between.
And soon there is a riot.
Let him know we mean business.
Riot at 11:30 Sunday night on the movies on Channel 9.
Hi, I'm Dana Hilger.
And I'm Michael Kalman. Lots of things coming up next week on PM Magazine. For instance, we'll meet Gilda Radner and find out about her brand new movie called Hanky Panky.
We'll also follow along with General Hospital's Luke Spencer and Scotty Baldwin as they visit Kansas City.
We'll also meet a little kid who has a chimp for a brother.
So join us all next week on PM Magazine at 6:30 here on Channel 9.
Edward Lewis reports the news.
The stats for the 1982 City of Roses Open: $95,000 split among the 160 players that went to the starting gate. 205 average to cash 48 spot. Butch Soper got that. Top 24, 212 average. And the look at the players as they finish this week. Bellinger close again. Steve Westberg, the lefty, up there. Wonderlic, an early leader. The good-looking bachelor, Tommy Laskow, in there. Steve Fair starting to show some of that potential. Pete McCordy, good as always. Longview, Washington, Matt Serena up there. Casey Berry, steady from Albuquerque. A.J. Vincent, David Houston, near hometown. The old Wrangler, Frank Ellenberg. Bowling's best in 17th. Randy Flight still on a honeymoon. A.C. Delco champion Pathness. Mike Moniak. Led up there. Acosta coming back. The Dale Glenn went in 23rd, 24th, 25th, and 26th. The reason that those two players are in there, Dale Glenn and Janello, they replaced J.A. Ono and Steve Martin, who both had pulled muscles and had to be replaced in the top 24 finals.
Okay, Bo, and there you see what's happened thus far. 3 interesting games, and now 2 former PBA Rookies of the Year. Tommy Hudson, who's won 10 championships in 1972, and young Pete Weber in 1981. Here we go in the championship match. $12,000 to the winner of this head-to-head game. Second place, $7,000. Dave Soutar picked up a check for $5,000.
The hottest hand in the game of bowling. You saw him throw a clutch double last week at the Seattle Open to defeat Bob Hanley. He's red hot.
What a way to open.
The 210, that's when you're standing a little too far left on the approach and you send the ball wide. It finishes late, and we get what we call a tour split because the lanes usually finish quite a bit on the tour. The ball finished behind the head pin, and he leaves a tough split to convert.
So Tommy Hudson, Akron, Ohio, the 34-year-old champion and tournament leader, has an open frame. Now Pete Weber in his second match of the afternoon. He defeated Dave Soutar 207 to 195, bowling 6 strikes.
And this young man, contemporary player with that power, if he gets loose, he won that first match. Hudson gave him an opening. He could really tear this match wide open.
The winner of the Greater Hartford Open, the 1980 Winter Tour, Pete Weber, as we check his footwork.
5-step delivery, very methodical, kind of stiff-legged on his 3rd step. See his left leg stiffen up, then a good knee bend, gets down at the line. Right on through. Tremendous shot. Look where his foot slid at the foul line on about the 30th board from the right corner, and he sent it all the way out to the 1st. That's a lot of break.
Convincing double right here in the championship match. Hudson, who opened in the first frame, will now be shooting in the second on the right lane. Leaving a 10-pin, the man that won a week ago in Seattle.
Tommy Hudson with a good break sends it almost wide as Pete Weber, but not quite as much speed. And as you see, Tommy Hudson's ball deflect a little bit as it goes through the 1-3. You don't see much of that out of young Weber's shot. Hudson going for his 2nd consecutive titles, back-to-back. Hudson with that good push away. It's up high, just and he sights his eyes right over the ball, locks his arm, a little above shoulder height. Once again, the good deep knee bend and extension through the foul, and you have to reach for the shot.
That's what he was looking for. Well, it's a strike in the third frame of this championship match for Tommy Hudson. Up in a hurry is Pete Weber. Double working, third frame. Three-bagger for the young man who said key to making this telecast is keeping his mind on the game and not getting mad.
Can't get mad when you have him going in a pocket like that. You can see him sighting out his right eye, push away, watch his right shoulder open up. Then he'll close it just as he comes through. Gets the ball right on line, good follow through. Look at those eyes. He's up for this match.
Tournament leader, Tommy Hudson. Seven stayed.
Not to be. The sharp hook of young Weber did not take all the pins out. The head pin goes to the sideboard, and watch it cut across, and it's supposed to take out the 4, 5, 7. Just hits the 4 into the 5. Fairly simple spare cross lane, keep the speed up.
Pete Weber from Florissant, Missouri, is in the lead by 30 pins in this championship match. We'll continue after this.
Climbers ready! One!
Me being a lumberjack, you'd think the last thing I'd want to do on my day off is climb another tree.
Go!
I tell you, if you know how much we got for winning, you'd know we don't do it for the money. But win or lose, we have a lot of fun. And after it's over, well, the one thing we'd better get is a really great beer.
Nice race. Come on, guys. It's Miller time.
Miller time. Time to appreciate the difference between a good beer and a great beer.
If you've got the time,
You know I let you win, don't you?
we've got the beer.
Miller High Life.
Miller tastes too good to hurry through.
Miller High Life. America's quality beer since 1855.
When it's time to relax, Miller's got the beer.
ABC Sports presents another sensational Sunday. First, on your mark for the NCAA Outdoor Track and Field Championships. Then the critically acclaimed ABC Sports Beat with Howard Cosell. On The American Sportsman, will the bluefin tuna survive? Plus, parachutists leap off El Capitan. Finally, on ABC's Wide World of Sports, see Americans coming on strong in the U.S. Grand Prix Motocross Motorcycle Championship. Plus, U.S. Olympic hopefuls show brute weightlifting strength. Another sensational Sunday tomorrow on ABC.
Weber the leader, fifth frame. Oh, a high hit, the 4, 6, 7. Because we're running way behind. Tommy Hudson doubled while we were gone, striking the 4th and 5th.
See Pete send the ball wide, didn't send it all the way out to the first board like that, and he cut right through the middle, the 4, 6, 7 split. The lead has changed hands, Chris.
Just like that. A young man that opened with 3, spare, and an open.
At one point in the match, just 3 frames ago, he was ahead by 31 pins. He now trails by 4.
For Pete Weber, 6th frame. Right back. Good mark.
Urging of his wife, Dee Dee, come on now, she says. 4 pins difference. Hudson, with a turkey going, can increase that lead. He has a 4 to 14 with 1 more strike.
Meanwhile, his wife, Barbara, is saying,
Make it a 3-bagger. Double up. All but the 10.
Interesting how the players are playing this pair of lanes. Both players sending it very wide on the right-hand lane. Hudson almost playing the same shot as Pete Weber. And on the left-hand lane, Hudson going much straighter than young Weber. Here's a release of Tommy Hudson. A semi-roller outside the thumb and finger holes, and a very high roll for the slicker lanes.
Thinnest spare I think I've ever seen.
Tommy says they're glad they put the last plastic coating on that pin. Look at that. We always tell him all you have to do is touch him. He's proving it.
What a touch. Oh, at the line, he knew he was going to have problems.
Slipped at the foul line. Tommy's got a brand new pair of shoes on to help combat the slippery approaches, but he just didn't get the lift on that ball. He sent it in the proper position, but he didn't get the break because the lift was not there with the wrist at the point of release.
Look at that sleeper 8. This is the final match. $12,000 the winner, the runner-up $7,000. So Weber back in the lead by 11 pins after the open by Hudson. Strike up. Pete Weber now shooting in the 7th. Weber back to a 21-pin lead as a result of that double.
Big shot for Pete, back in the lead. He had it well in hand in the 5th frame, then got an open, came back with a strike in the 6th and 7th, can extend the lead to 31 with a strike here in the 8th, make it a turkey. Pete, the fingertip grip, stretched out fingertip, very contemporary young player. Tucks that baby finger under there for a tighter grip, extended index finger, big turn and powerful lift.
Three in a row. The 135-pounder has a highly developed bowling right arm.
Watch the 10 pin. When the 6 drives right into the 10, such as this, to the sideboard, drives straight into the 10 off the sideboard, that's when you know you're hitting him at the perfect angle.
And after an open frame, 10-time champion and tournament leader Tommy Hudson strikes in the 8th.
Under most circumstances, I would say this is an absolute must situation for Tommy Hudson, but Pete Weber has been erratic, either strikes or gets an open, so if Hudson can strike, he definitely puts some pressure on Pete Weber, but if he doesn't, we'll have to see what Weber does in the 9th.
And now a double, and Weber is back up here in Portland, Oregon, where Ken Ogawa, manager of Timber Lanes, and all the bowling fans here are so hospitable.
So right you are, Chris. Pete Weber going at a 225 pace. Tommy Hudson, a possible 224. It's a long way from being over.
Strung 4. And Bo, I must tell you, it's good to get here in the cool climate after the desert, watching that championship fight last night. And Howard will be live on Wide World talking to Cooney and Holmes.
Yeah, it should be interesting later on today. And I have to admit, I enjoyed your telecast of the preliminary fight and your expertise in the championship match, Chris.
Thank you.
For Pete Weber right now, a strike would win the tournament. A mark would shut out Tommy Hudson. Spare or strike, he is the winner.
Boy, isn't he something. Juanita and Dick Weber's 19-year-old son, one of 3 brothers,
Pete Weber, his second win this year. Richer by $12,000, a beautiful trophy going back to Missouri. What a young man. You'll see a lot more of him.
Presents the Professional Bowlers Association from Highland Lanes in Austin, Texas. It's the $110,000 Aquafest Mr. Gaddy's Open.